Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
Welcome back to Outlaws Gunslingers with Bang and Dang. We're moving on to the last of the month, which means...
What's that mean?
It's serial killer time.
What is it?
Or
some shit.
American Psycho.
Like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you actually brought that up because our guy that we're covering today, American Psycho Killer, was actually partly inspired by this guy. Well, actually, a lot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, Chainsaw was mostly him, yeah, and then somebody else.
Yeah, we'll get to all that at the end of all the stuff that he inspired. We're talking about Ed Gein today, but arguably the top 5 most famous serial killers in American history.
Right.
But after reading this guy's story thoroughly and doing all the stuff, putting this story together, I'm not really sure why. I guess it's only because of the shit they found in his house.
Right.
And it happened in the 50s, so obviously he's going to be the most media-frenzied one.
A small Wisconsin town.
Right, which we'll see. Nobody expected, the typical, nobody expected that. Yeah, he was a suspected serial killer. We're putting him in the serial killer thing because most likely killed a few people.
Right.
But suspected serial killer, he committed around his hometown of Plainfield, Wisconsin.
And he was a body snatcher.
He was.
Snatching those bodies. He's a grave digger.
It all came to a head in 1957 after authorities discovered that he exhumed corpses from local graveyards and he fashioned keepsakes from their bones and skin. We'll get into that a little bit more. He also confessed to killing 2 women. One was tavern owner Mary Hogan in 1954. And nobody knew about until he did his last murder, I guess, which was hardware store owner Bernice Warden in 1957. Screwed that one up. Killed her right in the store like a moron. Drug her right now. What an idiot. In a small town, obviously. I mean, this guy's the epitome of dumb. If clearly wasn't even in his right mind, which we'll get to that as well, too. So
everybody had suspects of him.
Right. Before we get into it, let's go check out our YouTube at Bang Dang Network. Both shorts, clips, plus full episodes, and our YouTube exclusive Dart League. If you're just listening on Spotify, Apple, or any other podcast, give us a review, share us with your friends, answer that Spotify question. Here we go. Ed Gein.
Eduardo.
Edward Theodore Gein, born in La Crosse, Wisconsin, August 27, 1906. He was the second of 2 boys, born to George Philip Gein, lived from 1873 to 1940, and Augusta Wilhelmine Gein, who lived from 78 to 1945.
Maiden name
Larky. He had an older brother named Henry.
Henry.
Augusta, who was fervently religious and nominally Lutheran, frequently preached to her sons about the innate immorality of the world, the evil of drinking, and her belief that all women were naturally promiscuous and instruments of the devil, except for herself, of course.
Right.
Mama never acts like that.
Respectable.
She reserved time every afternoon to read to them from the Bible, usually selecting verses from the Old Testament and the Book of Revelation concerning death.
She went to the 2 most extreme...
death-filled parts of the Bible.
Old Testament has some crazy ass stories in it, and then the Book of Revelation is just destruction.
Well, Gein eventually went to go on to idolize and became obsessed with her.
Oh, wow.
That's the only,
they all do.
Only person he knew.
I mean, that's a common trait for a psychopath. Yeah. Dear mama. Damn. Well, his mama hated her husband, an alcoholic, unable to keep his job. He had worked at various times as a carpenter, a tanner, insurance salesman, but she never pursued a divorce due to her fervent beliefs on the subject.
Yeah, can't do that.
That's what happened, man. Shit just didn't work out, and I'm stuck. As a result, Ed and his older brother Henry, they were raised within a temperamental marital household. Yeah, it was just
hated each other.
Yeah, it was just as soon as you walk in there, it's like, hey, I can feel the tension up in this son bitch. But just walk in and just be like, hey, calm down. Even if I've never been in there before.
Just walk in and walk back right out, like the Grandpa Simpson meme.
Yeah, he's like, ooh, don't like this aura. During his time in La Crosse, Gein's father owned a local grocery shop. But
dude was not, he was a piece of shit, but ended up owning a local grocery shop.
Wow. But he soon sold the business and left the city with his family to live in isolation on a 155-acre farm in the town of Plainfield, Wisconsin, which became the permanent residence. Gein's mama took advantage of the farm's isolation by turning away outsiders who could have influenced her sons. I mean, you get some. That's when the weird stuff turns weirder. You take him away from society.
The only interaction is between you and him.
Out in the middle of the country and he's doing some country boy shit. Just living life rough.
No social anything with any kids. Gein left the farm only to attend school.
Oh, jeez.
Outside of school, he spent most of his time doing chores on the farm. He was shy. Classmates and teachers remembered him as having strange mannerisms, such as seemingly random laughter, as if he were laughing at his own personal jokes. Probably was. Mama said the funniest thing the other day. To make matters worse, Augusta punished him whenever he tried to make new friends.
Oh, no.
Despite his poor social development, Gein did fairly well in school, particularly in reading, which that'll come into play after his mama died.
April Fool's Day, 1940. Gein's father.
No April Fools here.
Right. Gein's father died. Heart attack. Age 66. Ed and his brother Henry, they began doing odd jobs around town to help cover living expenses.
You know, the crazy thing is, we jump all the way to 1940.
Right.
He was born in 1906, so this means the dude's 36 years old right now, 36 years old right now, still living on the farm with his mama and daddy.
34 years old.
34 years old, whatever. Just regardless.
I mean, they weren't going anywhere. They were loners. Loners gotta be alone. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Really?
I don't know, move into town, find a girl or something.
Right. Well, they couldn't because they'd leave mama. Yeah. Don't leave me. After all I did for you boys and your daddy left me, now you boys are going to leave me. Right. And you're like, damn.
Damn it, mama.
Damn it, mama. The brothers were generally considered reliable, very honest by the rest of the community. A little weird, though. While both worked as a handyman, Ed also frequently babysat for neighbors.
They didn't think it was too weird if they're letting them babysit their kids.
Right. He particularly enjoyed this, as he liked being around children more than adults because he had a child mind. This preference may have been due to his lack of social development early in life. Therefore, he found it easier to relate to children who shared a similar level of intellect.
Right. They're both trying to put the blocks in the corresponding shapes.
They're teaching him how to go to the bathroom.
Right. In adulthood, Henry, Ed's brother, had rejected his mother's ideals and expressed his concern with how attached Ed was to their mother.
Right. Henry's like, dude, we got to go at some point in time. Ed's like, what do you mean mama needs us? Dude, mom's fine.
Well, Henry began to more openly criticize their mother, which shocked and upset Ed and initiated the souring of their brotherly relationship.
Uh-oh. I can see some Cain and Abel shit going on here.
Henry began dating a divorced mother of two and planned to move in with her at this time.
He didn't even care. He was like, divorce? All right, let's roll. Kids? Perfect. Oh, man. 16th of May, year 1944.
Well, I mean, Henry's probably 40 here.
Right.
She's probably, kids got out of the house already. So.
Right.
Perfect.
Right. Get it done, did. 16th of May, 1944. Ed, he was burning away some marsh vegetation on the property. The first got out of control. Oh, the fire got out of control, drawing the attention of the local fire department. I hope so. By the end of that very day, the fire had been extinguished and the firefighters gone. Ed reported his brother missing. With lanterns and flashlights, a search party searched for 43-year-old Henry, whose dead body found face down. In that same burnt field?
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently he had been dead for some time, and it appeared that the cause of death was heart failure, since he had not been burned or injured otherwise. Oh, shit.
It was later reported by biographer Harold Schechter that Henry had bruises on his head. Police dismissed the possibility of foul play, and the county coroner later officially listed asphyxiation as a cause of death. The authorities accepted the accident theory, but no official investigation was conducted, and no autopsy was performed. Okay, why not?
What?
Well, questioning Gein about the death of Bernice Warden in 1957, state investigator Joe Wilimowski brought up questions about Henry's death. George Arndt, who studied the case, wrote that in retrospect, it was possible and likely that Henry's death was the Cain and Abel aspect of this
look at that.
case.
Stole my fucking words.
Obviously beat his ass, dude.
Wow, George Arndt.
Don't you talk about mama.
I heard George Arndt before. Sounds familiar.
Well, he's a historian.
Right.
Don't you talk about mama. I'm sick of you bad-mouthing mama.
He did, or he was going to leave or something, or do. And he
probably, they were probably talking shit to each other while burning the vegetation, or who knows? He said he's been dead for quite some time, so who knows? Probably went over there one day. Ed, you're being real fucking weird with mom.
Right.
You need to get out of this farm. Fuck you.
Oh, I'm selling the farm or something.
Right.
My mom was going to go into a home, and you're going to have to go somewhere.
Not today, Henry.
Today,
oh, Henry.
Oh, Henry. You're not going to make it home for dinner. Damn. Well, with Henry murdered, pretty much, with Henry's deceased body, Ed and Augusta were now alone.
Yeah.
Augusta had a paralyzing stroke shortly after Henry's death. She spent more of her time confined to bed and acted more erratically than ever. Ed, he served as her only caretaker, but was also the sole victim of her vicious mood swings. Oh, I bet. You piece of shit. That's why everybody left us. Your daddy dead because of you. Your brother's dead because of you. I had a stroke because of you. You just ruined everything. He's the youngest, right?
The only one, yeah, now.
All right. And it continued psychological and emotional abuse. Augusta would derogatorily compare her son to his useless father. You just like your useless father. But would then contrastingly show a softer maternal side and allow Ed to sleep in her bed.
Mama didn't mean what she said earlier,
Right.
Eddie. Come in bed with Mama. Jeez.
Dude, that's nuts.
Sometime in 1945, he later...
And where do they get this information from? This from Ed himself?
Yes. As you see, sometime in 1945, he later recounted he and his mother visited a man named Smith, who lived nearby, to purchase straw. According to Ed, Augusta witnessed Smith beating a dog. A woman inside the Smith residence came outside and yelled for him to stop, but Smith beat the dog to death.
Oh, shit.
Augusta was extremely upset by this scene. However, what bothered her did not appear to be the brutality toward the dog, but rather the presence of the woman.
Right. Dude, she's like in a... Whoa. Lutheran believed like that back then?
Psycho. Well, she did.
Holy shit. Well, Augusta told Ed that the woman was not married to Smith and so had no business being there, and angrily called her Smith's harlot.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man. The girl just got called a slut and didn't even know it.
Right.
Well, she soon had her second stroke, and her health deteriorated rapidly after this.
Just couldn't stand the sight of a unmarried woman
Right.
being with some guy.
A lot of anger in that body. Man. Well, Augusta died 29th December 1945, 67 years young. That's just ridiculous. Oh, as we all would expect it, Edward was devastated by her death. In the words of Schechter, he had lost his only friend and one true love. And he was absolutely alone in the world.
Poor guy.
Quote, unquote, Ed Gein.
Poor guy. Well, Gein held on to the farm and earned money from odd jobs after this. He boarded up rooms used by his mother, including the upstairs, downstairs parlor, and living room, leaving them untouched.
Oh, shit.
While the rest of the house became increasingly squalid, these rooms remained pristine. Gein lived thereafter in a small room next to the kitchen. Around this time, he became interested in reading pulp magazines and adventure stories, particularly those involving cannibals or Nazi atrocities.
Oh, no.
Specifically concerning Elise Koch, who selected tattoo prisoners for death in order to fashion lampshades and other items from their skins.
Oh, shit. So he's getting some weird shit, and he's probably thinking, well, you know what? I can just go rob some graves, and nobody's going to know, right?
She had a husband that was in the Nazis, and she selected the prisoners for death in order to make shit out of their skin, dude.
Yeah, there's a movie. Or something like that. I've seen that. Yeah, see?
The Witch of Buchenwald.
Well, Edward would receive a farm subsidy from the federal government starting in 1951. He occasionally worked for the local municipal road crew and crop threshing crews in the Plainfield area. Well, get some cash crop in there. You got to make some money somehow, right? I mean, sure, he had enough land to...
I don't think he was doing anything on his land.
Yeah, that's why he received a farm subsidy. They're planting 80 acres, right? Here it is right there.
No, they had 100 and something acres.
Right. Well, sometime between 1946 and 1956, he sold 80 acres of land that Henry had owned. Oh.
I don't think it netted him much because we'll see when his shit gets auctioned off at the end that for as much acres as he had, they screwed him. Or maybe it was just because of the crimes. But
you think he wouldn't spend any money?
Well, on the morning of November 16th, 1957, 58-year-old Plainfield hardware store owner Bernice Warden disappeared.
Uh-oh.
The hardware store's truck was seen driving out from the rear of the building at around 9:30 a.m. Hardware store saw few customers the entire day. Some area residents believe that this was because the opening day of deer season.
Oh.
Warden's son, Deputy Sheriff Frank Warden, entered the store around 5 p.m. to find the cash register open and blood stains on the floor.
Oh, shit.
He told investigators that on the evening before his mother's disappearance, Gein had been in the store and was to have returned the next morning for a gallon of antifreeze. He immediately suspected that weird motherfucker.
Oh, shit. Well, there was a sales slip for antifreeze that was the last receipt written by Warren on the morning that she disappeared. That evening, Sheriff Slay had a warrant to search Ed Gein's property. Then they came upon a shed. Inside that very shed, they found a carcass hanging upside down from the ceiling. Torso was dressed out like a deer. Nails had been hammered through each ear and tied together with twine like it was ready to be hung like a trophy. This was the fleshy, gutted remains of Mrs. Borden. She had been shot with a .22 caliber rifle, and the mutilations were made after her death. Her head was eventually found in a burlap sack in the house, and her heart hanging in a plastic bag.
Jeez.
That very evening, Ed Gein, arrested, West Plainfield grocery store. For the murder of Mrs. Warden.
Well, upon searching that very house, the authorities found a whole human bones and fragments.
Oh, shit.
A wastebasket made of human skin.
Oh, wow.
Human skin covering several chairs. Skulls on his bedpost. Female skulls, some with the top sawn off.
Wow.
Bowls made from human skulls. A corset made from a female torso skin from shoulders to waist. Leggings made from a human leg skin. Masks made from the skin of female heads. Mary Hogan's face mask in a paper bag. Mary Hogan's skull in a box. Bernice Borden's entire head in and her heart in a plastic bag. 9 vulvae in a shoebox. A young girl's dress and the vulvas of 2 females judged to have been about 15 years old. A belt made from female human nipples. 4 noses. A pair of lips on a window shade drawstring. Oh, geez, he was like...
Oh, wow.
A lampshade made from the skin of a human face. Fingernails from female fingers. And a female human nipple doorbell. Holy mo! Oh, yeah, that's actually hilarious. Sorry.
Oh, my goodness. Right.
Wow. He had a sense of humor.
Nipple. Wow. I mean, for the most part, it was dead bodies, which is sick enough, but once it started to be real humans, alive people, then we got a problem.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, the first time that he did it, he got fucking caught.
Which is great.
Well, that's why I said unfortunately for him.
Right. These very artifacts.
Well, they kind of are.
These artifacts were photographed at the state crime laboratory and then decently disposed of, which they mean is threw them in a fire.
Or mass grave, maybe.
Maybe. When questioned, Ed told investigators that between 1947 and 1952, he had made as many as 40 nocturnal visits to the 3 local graveyards to exhume recently buried bodies while he was in a dazed-like state. On about 30 of those visits, he said that he came out of the daze while in the cemetery, left the grave in good order, and returned home empty-handed.
He said, what the fuck am I doing?
Right. On the other occasions, though, he dug up the graves of recently buried middle-aged women he thought resembled his mother and took the bodies home where he tanned their skins to make his paraphernalia. Oh, no. Jeez. So he's trying to claim insanity. Like he's blacking out.
Well, he admitted to stealing from 9 graves total and led investigators to their locations. Alan Wilimowski of the State Crime Laboratory participated in opening 3 test graves identified by Gein. Caskets were inside wooden boxes. The top boards ran crossways, not lengthwise. You know what's that mean? Mm-hmm. The top of the boxes were about 2 feet below the surface in sandy soil. Gein had robbed the graves soon after the funerals while the graves were not completed. Right, so you can just easily dig them up. Ground's not settled. And
jeez. Wow. Well, the test graves were exhumed because authorities were uncertain as to whether the slight Gein was capable of single-handedly digging up a grave during a single evening. They were all found just as Ed described it. One casket was empty. Another casket contained Gein's crowbar. And the final casket saw most of the body missing. Yet Gein had returned rings and some body parts.
Jeez.
Thus, Gein's confession was largely corroborated. They're like,
maybe he did do it.
Unless we got to get hold of these families and be like, hey, did you guys bury this dude like this or this chick?
No, obviously.
What do you mean?
Well, it's been said soon after his mother's death, Gein began to create a woman suit so that he could become his mother to literally crawl into her skin.
Oh, no.
He denied having sex with the bodies he exhumed, explaining they smelled too bad. During state crime laboratory interrogation, Gein also admitted to shooting 51-year-old Mary Hogan, who was a tavern owner missing since December 8, 1954, whose head, like we said, was found in his house.
Damn, so he didn't do it for how many years?
3.
3? That's,
I guess.
Decent.
He then claimed he was in a dazed state at the time of the murder and he could not remember exactly what happened. The only memory he had was that he accidentally shot her.
So was he an alcoholic then? That's what he means when he says dazed? Fucking drunk?
Or he's just going in and out of psychosis.
No, I think he's just fucking hammered. I think he was a major drunk and blacked out on whiskey.
Oh, they never said that he was drinking or anything.
Ed showed no signs of remorse.
You would think, as growing up with his mom, how much he hated drinking and stuff. He probably didn't.
All right, and he was already weird, laughing at himself in the corner in school and shit.
Right, you didn't need drugs or alcohol.
Right.
You got that.
But if you had alcohol to that, ooh-wee. Well, Edward showed no signs of remorse or emotion during many hours of interrogation. When he talked about the murders and of his grave robbing escapades, he spoke very matter-of-factly, even cheerfully at times.
He just liked talking about it, probably.
Right. He had no concept of the enormity of his crimes. A 16-year-old youth whose parents were friends of Gein and who attended baseball games and movies with him reported that Gein kept shrunken heads in his house, which he had described as relics sent by a cousin who had served in the Philippines during World War II. Oh, no, there were some that came from the Philippines. From my cousin. He was in World War II.
World War II, this was, Philippines weird. They have stuff like that over there.
Oh, that's awesome, Ed.
Right.
Cool.
It's got a whole movie.
Upon investigation by the Popo, these were determined to be human facial skins, carefully peeled from corpse and used by Gein as mask. Oh, my.
Jeez. So during questioning, Sheriff Art Schley reportedly assaulted Gein by banging his head and face into a brick wall.
Oh, I bet.
As a result, Gein's initial confession was ruled inadmissible.
Oh,
he just beat up somebody.
Right, you can't do that.
Well, unfortunately for Schley, he died of a heart attack in 1968 at the age of 43 before Gein's second trial.
This case
I guess his only trial because he never had a real trial until 68. Many who knew Schley said he was traumatized by the horror of Gein's crimes, and this, along with the fear of having to testify, especially about assaulting Gein, caused his death. He was nervous as shit. Right.
I mean, testify. Like, yeah, dude. We knew everybody that he killed and dug up at one point in life.
Right.
Angry. Lucky I didn't kill the sumbitch. In addition to the murders of Hogan and Warden, Gein was also considered a suspect in several other unsolved cases in Wisconsin. And now they're just going to lump it all in there. I think if he would have done that, he would have admitted to it.
Maybe.
November 1957, authorities confronted Gein with a list of missing persons.
List of missing cases.
Authorities confronted Gein with a list of missing people that had occurred between the death of his mother and Warden. So what? A couple years?
She died in 45.
Oh, yeah. So
12 years.
Their suspicions were further aroused after the discovery of Hogan's remains. However, lie detector tests seemingly exonerated Gein of any other murders, and his psychiatrist concluded that his violence was only directed to women who physically resembled his mother.
Could be true. Well, some people that he could have had a hand in include Georgia Jean Weckler, age 8, disappeared near her farm in Fort Atkinson approximately 3:30 p.m. May 1st, 1947. She was given a lift home from grade school in Jefferson by a neighbor who dropped her off at the lane that led from U.S. Highway 12 to the Weckler farm. She was last seen pausing to open the family mailbox and removing a stack of mail.
Oh.
She was never seen again.
Oh, shit.
Witnesses reported seeing a dark-colored, possibly black 1936 Ford sedan with a gray plastic spotlight in the vicinity that afternoon. Gein owned a 1937 black model Ford.
But they don't mention if there was a plastic spotlight in the vicinity. Evelyn Grace Hartley, age 15, missing while babysitting a 20-month-old girl at the home of La Crosse State College professor Viggo Rasmussen on the evening of the 24th of October, 1953. That very evening, her father, Richard, called the Rasmussen house several times after she failed to check in as planned at about 8:30 p.m. He received no answer. Concerned, he drove to Rasmussen's house to find the doors were locked, the lights and radio on, and items scattered all over the house.
Oh, shit. The living room furniture had been moved around different places, as were Evelyn's school books. Richard found her shoes in different rooms, one shoe upstairs, one downstairs. He also found his daughter's broken glasses upstairs. Richard did not find Evelyn in the house. After his arrest, Gein was questioned regarding Evelyn's disappearance. However, he denied involvement in the disappearance and passed 2 lie detector tests about it. And police found no trace of Evelyn's remains during a search of Gein's property.
Yeah, you guys, I think he would admit to it if it happened.
Well, I think you still got to ask,
right.
Did you do this? What the hell? Well, okay. Later developments, 2004, a man named Mel Williams came forward with a conversation he recorded at a bar in 1969. Although his goal was to record a band which was performing, the conversation between two men was unintentionally recorded. On the tape, one of the men, Clyde Tywee Peterson, implicated himself, Jack Gallfair, and an unnamed third party in the disappearance, claiming that Evelyn was murdered and buried in Lafarge, Wisconsin after her kidnapping. The unnamed party is now deceased. Gallfair committed suicide December 25th, 1967, and Peterson died of a heart attack in 74. Although authorities promised to investigate the lead, no further developments were made.
That's weird just to have that on tape.
Right, well, he was recording the band.
Right, but that's just 69. How many years? 1953?
Yeah.
That's a lot of years, 16 years.
16 years, and it just so happens they're at the bar together, or maybe this guy was drunk and was just
still thinking about it. Wow. Well, next up, Victor Harold Travers, age 43. Now they're going into man. A resident of Adams County went off to hunt deer in company of a 43-year-old acquaintance, Raymond Burgess, who was a resident of Milwaukee. They did that on the 1st of November, 1952. Late afternoon, the pair stopped for refreshments at Mac's Bar in Plainfield for several hours. About 7 p.m., damn, they decided not to do a night hunt, huh? On opening day, eh?
Oh, it was opening day. Were you allowed to do guns back in 52 on November 1st?
Of course.
Well, opening day was the 16th. Or 15th.
Here.
I think there, too.
Maybe they changed it. At around 7 p.m., they both left the bar, got into Burgess' car, and drove away. The hunters, along with the car Burgess was driving, were never seen again, and no trace of them were ever found. Travis and Burgess had been hunting on the farm right next to Ed Gein's, despite his objections on the day of the disappearance.
Oh, shit.
He's like, y'all stay off my property. We're like,
dude, kill it. We're not on your property.
Dude, we're good. We're good.
I like how they only named Victor Harold Travis, but...
Right.
What about Raymond Burgess guy? Well, in addition, Gein has also been tentatively linked to the June 1954 disappearance of neighbor James Walsh, age 32. Walsh and his wife lived near Gein, clearly, who performed chores for her after her husband went missing. Oh, jeez. Gein was also investigated for potential involvement in the August 56 disappearance of Irene Keating, age 30, who was last seen in Plainfield, and in the attempted abduction of Judy Rodencal, age 16, from Auroraville.
Now, those ones I can see, because they're in Plainfield, and they're probably...
That's a neighbor, and...
young girls.
Right.
Well, probably look like his mother.
Yeah, but supposedly was only attracted to the middle-aged ones, all the ones that dug up.
All right. Try to look like his mama.
Who? No, I doubt any of them. Who knows? So.
Yeah, right. Investigators revealed the facts about what was found on Eddie Gein's farm. The news quickly spread throughout that small town. Reporters from all over the world flocked to this very small town of Plainfield, Wisconsin. The town became known worldwide, and old Ed Gein reached celebrity-like status. You know, I like to freaking do that.
Good gawkers.
People were repulsed, yet at the same time drawn to the atrocities that took place on Ed Gein's farm. They're like, man, this dude's messed up.
Crazy, right?
I want to drive 8 hours.
Just go look at the house.
Gee.
Well, psychologists from all over the world attempted to find out what made Ed tick. During the 50s, he gained notoriety as being one of the most famous of documented cases involving a combination of necrophilia, transvestism, and fetishism.
Oh, wow.
Even children who knew of the exploits of Ed began to sing songs about him and make jokes in an effort to, as Harold Schechter suggests in his book Deviant, exercise the nightmare with laughter.
Right.
These distasteful jokes became known as Geiners and were quick to become popular around the world.
Oh, no shit. We got a couple Geiners
I
for
got
you.
a couple Geiner. You want to hear a Geiner?
Sure, fuck yeah. Everybody gets time for a good Geiner. Back in Plainfield, residents endured the onslaught of reporters that disrupted their daily life by bombarding them with questions about Ed. However, many of them eventually became involved in the mania surrounding Ed and contributed what information they had.
Oh, yeah.
Plainfield, now known to the world as the home of the infamous Ed Gein. Most residents who knew Ed had only good things to say about him.
Of course.
Other than that, he was a little peculiar, had a quirky grin, and a strange sense of humor. Overall, though, pretty damn good guy. You call him up, he'll help you. You're in a pinch, call Gein. Call Gein. call Gein. Right.
Better call Gein.
Right, better call Gein. They never suspected him of being capable of committing such ghastly crimes. But the truth was very hard to escape.
Fucking
small
accept
town.
it.
The little shy, quiet man the town thought they knew was in fact a murderer who also violated the graves of friends and relatives.
Right. Come on, guys. November 21st, 1957, Gein was arraigned on one count of first-degree murder in Washoe County Court, where he pleaded not guilty by reason of his sanity. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia and found mentally incompetent, thus unfit for trial.
Wow. Oh.
He was sent to the Central State Hospital for the Criminally Insane, which is now the Dodge Correctional Institution, which is a maximum security facility in Waupun, and later transferred to the Mendota State Hospital in Madison. Fast forward to 1968, doctors determined Eddie's finally ready.
Right.
He's mentally able to confer with counsel and participate in his defense.
No shit.
So we're going to try his ass fucking 11 years later. Huh?
Well, trial began November 7th, 1968. Lasted 1 week. Shouldn't even lasted that long.
Right.
A psychiatrist testified that Gein had told him that he did not know whether the killing of Warden was intentional or accidental. Gein told him that while he examined a gun in Warden's store, the weapon discharged and killed Warden.
Well, I doubt a gun for sale in a store is going to have ammo in it.
He said he had not aimed a rifle at Warden and did not even remember anything else that happened after that.
At the request of the defense, Gein's trial was held without a jury, with Judge Robert H. Gallmer presiding. Gein was found guilty by Gallmer November 14th. The second trial dealt with Gein's sanity. After testimony by doctors for the prosecution and defense, Gallmer ruled Gein not guilty by reason of insanity and ordered him committed to the Central State Hospital for the criminally insane. Again. Gein spent the rest of his life in a mental hospital. Judge Gallmer wrote, due to prohibitive costs, Gein was tried for only one murder, that of Mrs. Warden. But he also admitted to killing Mary Hogan. Let the court recognize that.
Right. So don't worry, Mary Hogan's family. We're doing something.
Well, you're acknowledged.
Right. Gein's house, a 195-acre property, appraised at $4,700, which is $50,000 in 2023. Damn, that's
Really?
Doubt that.
Right.
His possessions were scheduled to be auctioned on the 30th of March in 1958, amidst rumors that the house and the land it stood on might become a tourist attraction.
But it did.
Right. Early morning, March 20th, the house was destroyed by a fire. You know damn well that was coming. A deputy fire marshal reported that a garbage fire had been set 75 feet from the house by a cleaning crew, who was given the task of disposing of all that trash. Then he said the hot coals they recovered from the spot of the bonfire, but that the fire did not spread along the ground from the location to the house.
Well, as we all know, arson was suspected, but the cause of the fire was never officially determined. It is possible that the fire was not considered a matter of urgency by Fire Chief Frank Warden, son of Gein's victim Bernice. He's like, fuck that house.
Right.
When Gein learned of the incident while in detention, he shrugged and said, just as well. Fuck it, right? Gein's Ford sedan, which he used to haul the bodies of his victims, was sold at public auction for $760, which is equivalent to about $8,000 today.
Holy shit.
That was sold to Carnival sideshow operator Bunny Gibbons. Gibbons charged carnival goers 25 cents admission to see it with a banner that read, "Come and see the Ghoul car," in which Ed Gein transported his victims.
Oh, shit.
Fuck it. Well, probably got a lot of money from that.
I wonder where that's at today.
Could be still around.
I bet it's not.
I bet you it is.
Somebody's got to have it.
Somebody's got his car. A final recorded appearance at the Washington County Fair in Slinger, Wisconsin, when the local sheriff shut down the exhibit. It was banned by the state entirely after Gibbons returned home to Illinois defeated. He and the car faded into obscurity, their fates unknown.
Oh, shit.
It's probably still in his possession, somewhere in like a warehouse that he owned or something.
He can get rid of that son of a bitch.
That'd be a huge fine if that ever gets popped up one of these days.
You ain't fucking kidding. At the mental hospital, it was said that Ed was a decent patient who spent his time doing occupational therapy. He had rug making, and he also polished stones.
Good for him.
Right. Then he developed an interest in ham radios.
Oh.
The head nurse spoke up, said, "Leave this motherfucker alone. He can tell right away. He will dig up your bones."
Right. He's digging up your bones.
Way in your face.
Right.
The head nurse spoke up at the hospital and said, "If all of our patients were like him, we have no trouble at all."
He just sits there.
Although some female staff members recall feeling discomforted when they noticed Ed staring at him. Of course.
I would too.
Yeah, that everybody.
Even if I was, even the guys probably did.
Right. I felt weird when he's staring at me. No shit.
Well, Gein died at the Mendota Mental Health Institute due to respiratory failure secondary to lung cancer, July 26, 1984, age 77.
That piece of shit got to live to 77.
Yep. Over the years, souvenir seekers chipped pieces from his gravestone at the Plainfield Cemetery until the stone itself was stolen in 2000. It was recovered June 2001 near Seattle, Washington, and was placed in storage at Waushara County Sheriff's Department. The grave site itself is now unmarked, but not unknown, as he is buried right in between his parents and brother in the cemetery.
Right.
Which you can go online and see 100,000 pictures of people taking pictures with it.
Crazy. Well, Ed's story has had a lasting effect on American popular culture, as evidenced by its numerous appearances in films, music, and literature. The tale first gained widespread public attention in a fictionalized version presented by Robert Bloch, his 1959 suspense novel, Psycho. In addition...
Because... Right. What the aspect, isn't he like obsessed with his mom in Psycho or something like that?
Right.
Norman Bates loved his mother.
Right. Blah, 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 blah. Lived up in the house. And, yeah. In addition to Alfred Hitchcock's...
Nope.
In addition to Alfred Hitchcock...
Not an ancestor of Wild Bill.
Right. In addition to Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 film from Bloch's novel, Psycho, Gein's story was loosely adapted into numerous films, including Deranged in 1974. In the Light of the Moon in the year 2000, which was released in the United States and Australia as Ed Gein.
I think I remember. I've never seen it, but I remember something about it.
There's also Ed Gein, The Butcher of Plainfield in 2007, and Ed Gein, the musical, in 2010. And Rob Zombie Films' House of Thousand Corpse and its sequel, The Devil's Rejects.
Right.
Gein served as an inspiration for myriad fictional serial killers, most notably Norman Bates from Psycho, Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lamb, and Joe Dirt.
Right.
Garland Green from Con Air. Oh, yeah. And, oh, no.
Garland Green,
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And the cat, he's got the whole...
Yeah, but he was like weird with kids.
Yeah, and he killed that kid at the end of the movie.
No, he didn't. He just sat with her.
Yeah, the kid was missing.
No, because they called him back and he left.
Yeah,
it was the tense. Yeah, it was the tense part of the movie. But she was just sitting there. But they called him back and he came. He didn't kill him.
Yeah, they only showed the stuffed animal afterwards.
It was the stuffed animal was for his kid.
Yeah, but the girl was missing.
No.
Yeah, but
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
And the character Dr. Oliver Thredson in the TV series American Horror Story, Asylum.
Good for him. American filmmaker Errol Morris. Where do I know that name from? He made a popular movie. I know it.
Well, I was about to tell you, all right?
Errol Morris.
Thin Blue Line, bud.
Nope.
Never. Good show.
Why have I heard of him?
You never watched The Thin Blue Line?
No. Why would I have?
I'm sure you have. Oh, no, it's a documentary.
Randall Dale Adams. Yeah, never.
It's a docu.
Errol Wood. I feel like we've had that name before. Or Errol somebody. Oh, Errol was the kid that was killed, remember, in the hi-fi murders in the music store?
Yep.
Yeah. American filmmaker Errol Morris and German filmmaker Werner Herzog attempted unsuccessfully to collaborate on a film project about Gein from 75 to 76.
Oh, shit.
Morris claimed to have interviewed Gein several times and ended up spending almost a year in Plainfield interviewing dozens of locos.
Dude, so he had all kinds of shit.
The pair planned secretly to exhume Gein's mother from her grave to test a theory, but never followed through on the scheme and eventually ended their... What the fuck was their theory?
Right. I don't even know.
The aborted project was described in the 1989 New Yorker profile of Morris, okay? Gein also inspired American thrash metal band Slayer to write the song Dead Skin Mask from their 90 album Seasons in the Abyss.
That's true. Gein's story also inspired American grunge band Tad to write the song Nipple Belt for their 1989 album God's Balls.
All right, well, they're just a fucking weird-ass band, huh?
Well, character Patrick Bateman, 1991 novel American Psycho, and its 2000 film adaptation mistakenly attributes a quote by Edward Kemper to Gein, saying, "You know what Ed Gein said about women? He said, when I see a pretty girl walking down the street, I think two things. One part of me wants to take her out, talk to her, be real nice and sweet, and treat her right. The other part wonders what her head would look like on a stick." I don't think Ed Gein ever said that.
No, he just said it's a quote that Edmund Kemper said. This Edmund Kemper guy, we're getting to him.
Didn't we already see this guy somewhere?
No.
Did he make a movie on
He's a co-ed killer. But he was 6'9". There's a picture of him like with the two guards that are escorting him to jail, and he's just posing with them with like his hands over him, and he could easily like pick them both up and throw them into the fucking wall if he wanted to. Dude was a giant, crazy, and taking out women that are 100 pounds.
He's still alive.
Yes, he is. Somebody just interviewed him not too long ago. 2012, German director Jörg Budgereit wrote and directed a stage play about the case of Gein called Cannibal and Lieb. Cannibal und Lieb. I don't speak German, so at Theater Dortmund in Germany. The part of Gein was played by actor Uwe Robeck. According to George W. Arndt, news reports at the time of Gein's crime spawned a subgenre of black humor called Geiners. Yes, Geiners. 2002, Ed Gein was featured in an episode of Netflix's Dahmer, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, as a possible inspiration for it, whatever. However, a direct connection between the two is seen as speculation. And I haven't yet to watch this, but somebody should.
You're right.
2003, a multi-part docuseries aired about the life and upbringing of Ed Gein called Psycho, The Lost Tapes of Ed Gein.
I don't know if I didn't see that.
It's even on Netflix or Peacock, one of those two. I don't like that Lost Tape shit. I've watched the ones on John Wayne Gacy and stuff like that, and then, whatever. All right. I guess it wasn't so bad of a story. I mean, obviously, it was a fucked up little life that he had. Obviously, it all starts from the beginning, folks.
Mm-hmm. And it seemed like it wasn't right from the start. Something's going on. He had a chemical imbalance somewhere.
So the question remains, though, is he a serial killer?
I think the one girl's, the two of them that disappeared, that was 30 and 16, possibly. The other ones didn't. I mean, when you got people missing from Plainfield, how many people miss from Plainfield all the time? And have they been missing since?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see how he would be classified technically as a serial killer.
Right.
I guess it's 2 or more. Right? Didn't we have that in our first episode? Right. 2 or more. Some consider 3 or more. Right. I don't know. So I guess maybe he is. And his 2 murders occurred over a period of time. So it was a cooling off period. Well, I guess whatever. Either or. We just did an episode on the guy. So there you go. One of the most famous killers in American history, which don't see how. I could see how his story spawned off and do like Texas Chainsaw and stuff like that. Just because, I wear my people's skins on my face and it puts the lotion on its skin.
I wear my sunglasses at night.
Right. All sorts of things, right? Yep. Yep. That's going to do it for us. And this serial killer edition of Outlaws and Gunslingers. Next week's episode is going to be all about the mafia. Once again, we're going to cover the last 3 head bosses of the Gambino family. 2 of them are only temporary, and 1 of them is still in position as of today. And then, we'll move on to next week after that to another episode of. Wait a minute.
No.
Oh, no. Get ready. Another episode of Hell's Angels.
Uh-oh.
Which we're going to cover. I don't know what we're going to cover. Maybe George Christie, or maybe we'll do crimes that they've committed in the United States or elsewhere. Either or, we're going to do some Hell's Angels history stuff. So make sure you're joining us the next couple of weeks. Go to our YouTube at Bang Dang Network. Give us a subscription. And if you're only listening on podcast apps, specifically Apple, Spotify, where I know you can subscribe, give us a subscription there. Give us a comment on the Spotify question. Share us with your friends. And we will be back next week for some more Gambino family. We are the Month of Michiganders.
Bang Dang.